Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in again. This is Rich Sang, and I'm covering the Jussie Smollett attack investigation. So before we get into going over some of the interview that he did with ABC News, I just want to kind of give you an analysis of the actual area to create like a context of where all the cameras are. So to recap, this is where Jussie lives. This is the Lowe's Hotel. It's also known as the North Water Tower. Right here are the two persons of interest. And then right here is the camera that was aimed northward that caught them walking from this direction, going to the intersection here. Now, to just go back a little bit, if they're down here, they came from up here. So they either came from this direction or they came from this direction. Either way, there are a lot of really good cameras that would have caught them. There's a city red light camera right here, and these are privately owned AMC theater cameras. This is the Walgreens. They would have caught camera footage. And then there are two more city cameras. There's a pan tilt zoom right here, and I don't know where exactly the lens was pointed. And then there was another one pointed in this direction. Also, I went to Lizzie McNeil's pub and I talked to the bartender there. And he spoke with the owner who gave their footage to the FBI and the Chicago police. And the owner told their bartender, Chris, that after the incident, and we know this is where the incident occurred, that they fled this way. But they didn't so much as flee as they walked. And Chris made that point multiple times, that they weren't seen running as if they just, committed some terrible crime, but they were cool about it. They didn't really feel any rush. Now, if they went this way, we know a couple more things. This is a city-owned, city-operated, another one of these pan-tilt zoom cameras. I walked up to the lens, and it's at pretty much eye level, and you can see that it's pointed in this direction. Then as they continued, they're walking by the Sheraton Hotel. There's a camera in the window that might have caught an element of them as they walked this way. Then there's another set of stairs right here, another one of these cameras that's aimed at the stairs. And then if they continued under Columbus Street, there are still several more of these pan-tilt zoom cameras. And then if they went on top of Columbus itself, there's another one of those cameras as well. So this whole area of their getaway is completely covered with cameras. So also, let's just go over some of these cameras right here. These are all all of these right here are underneath East North Water Street. This is the lower part. Now this is an upper camera. This is on the normal street view, and this camera right here aims at Sheraton Hotel into their driveway. They have like a little loop here for cars to come in and out and exit. Here are a couple more city-owned red light cameras. Here's two more red light cameras with another pan-tilt zoom camera as well. Here's the target. They were integral in getting footage of showing Jussie at the intersection. We don't know if Jussie walked home this way or this way. But based on the interview he just gave with ABC, he most likely left his building, went up here, saw that Walgreens was closed, then went to the subway, and then came home. And he could have either gone this way or he could have gone this way. So let's just watch a little bit, or I'll just play it in the background.
We got back to the apartment. There was no food. And so I went out to Walgreens thinking that they were 24 hours and to have a smoke. Walgreens was closed. So I called him up and I said, hey, I'm going to run to Subway, which was across the street, and I'm going to get a salad. Do you want anything? I went to the Subway and got the order. During that time, I texted my manager thinking that he was still in Australia because he was on an Australian tour with one of his other clients. And I said, yo, call me when you can. He called me immediately. And while he was on the phone, I heard as I was crossing.
Okay, so what ABC just did is now they jumped us from right here to right here. They didn't tell us what direction he went home, because right now they're talking about the intersection he's at. So again, they jumped us from right here. The editing at ABC News jumped us in the interview from right here to right here. Oh, and by the way, regardless of whether he went this way or he came around and he came through this way, he could be at one of three spots. He could be either right here, or right here, one of these three corners. And he's heading towards this set of stairs right here. This is this little square box. And this box is an outdoor stairwell that takes you from the lower level, street level, to the upper level, which is to get into the upper level entrance into the Lowe's condo building. I also want to mention, I was there yesterday, and you can see that there are two cameras that aim at their one that aims at their revolving door. So as Jussie would have walked in, he would have been in clear view of that. And then there's another one in the lobby. There could be more, I just didn't see them. I didn't go inside, I only peeked through the window. So let's continue here.
The intersection, I heard Empire. I don't answer to Empire. My name ain't Empire. And I didn't answer. I kept walking, and then I heard Empire. So I turned around and I said, "Did you just say to me?" And I see the attacker, masked, and he said, "This MAGA country," punches me right in the face. So I punched his ass back, and then we started tussling. You know, it was very icy, and we ended up tussling by the stairs, fighting. There was a second person involved who was kicking me in my back, and then it just stopped, and they ran off, and I saw where they ran, and the phone was in my pocket, but it had fallen out. It was sitting there, and my manager was still on the phone. So I picked up the phone, and I said, "Brandon," and he's like, "What's going on?" And I said, "I was just jumped." And then I looked down, and I see that there's a rope around my neck, which I hadn't.
You hadn't noticed it before?
No, because it was so fast. You know what I'm saying? It was so fast.
How long did this all
It felt like minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds, honestly. I can't tell you honestly. I noticed the rope around my neck, and I started screaming. And I said, "There's a rope around my neck."
Did you get any kind of description of the attack?
I gave a body description, and because I saw this, right here or whatever, but I didn't see, I can't tell you what color their eyes were. I can't tell you.
Could Jussie tell us what their race is? Were they white men? Were they black men? Were they Latino men? The thing is, I mean, that's a big detail. And, as it stands right now, everyone's made to just jump to the conclusion that they're, white men. But in a gritty criminal situation like this, people call each other names, and they just, they would very likely or very easily just say, "This is MAGA country," whatever, It's not like we can assume that they were white, in my opinion.
And I did not see anything except the second person I saw running away. And the first person, I saw his stature.
Okay, he saw their stature. He heard them breathing. He saw their walking, their running. He heard their voice. I mean, you can figure out their race from that. So we need him to kind of give us that information. Also, the police, they need to account for the camera that's right here, right here, right here, right here, and the several others that continue on the other side of Columbus Avenue. Again, this is Columbus right here. I also want to take you real quick, and I'm claiming fair use in all of this, but to a video that Tucker Carlson and his team made. So this is one of their reporters, and They talk about how all of our phones have kind of like a GPS tracker, and Google is always constantly tracking us.
So let's find out what they know. This is our man-in-the-middle device. It's basically a Wi-Fi network that these phones are going to connect to once we turn their Wi-Fi on. It's going to pass data through it on the way to Google, but on the way, we're actually going to get a copy of the same data that Google's going to get. We'll be able to decrypt it and then find out where we've been throughout the day. Within minutes, the numbers rolled in. The phone that wasn't on airplane mode registered more than 100 locations, 130 activities, and even 152 barometric readings. As soon as it hooked up to our Wi-Fi, it transmitted 300 kilobytes of data straight to Google. The phone even logged our exact locations, tracking us all around town, the Capitol, the hospital, the school, and the cathedral. Now, you may notice what's missing here is the exact route that we took, but it got that data too. It knows when I got out of the car. The metadata has a time log down to the very second, tracking everything when they think that you're walking, riding, and yes, even getting out of the car. Okay.
So basically, Google knows the exact route Jussie took and where he was at every moment. And if those criminals also had cell phones on them, Google knows who they are as well. And if Google knows, so does the FBI, the CIA, and the NSA. And what they have is they have something called geo-fencing. So what they can do is if they can pinpoint Jussie at a specific time and place, they can go in reverse and they can put a little fence around a specific geographical area, and they can say, who else passed through this fence at the time that Jussie was there? So again, it's like the police have cards that they are not showing. I made a little demonstration. So here's a postage stamp. This is what we have been told by the police. A postage-sized stamp of information. And basically, it's those two men that we saw walking down the street. Again, those two men being these two fellas right here, walking in field of view of the camera at the northeast corner of a Water Street and New Street. They need to kind of fill this up with postage stamps. They need to show us the footage from here, from here, from here, from here, from here. And also all of the other footage of the criminals coming down the street. They also have footage there. So the police need to be more forthright and work with Google and use the geo-fencing and find out who those people were. Now, there's one other thing. At the crime scene, which is underneath, there's this stairwell right here. This is where we're told they found a bottle of hot sauce that had a substance in it that smelled like bleach. Well, when I was talking to Chris, the bartender, he was saying this stairwell is a known gang spot. It's where drugs are bought and sold. And he said there's patches of graffiti all over it. Well, I went there and I confirmed it. You can check out my previous videos to look at that. There's probably 4 different places where there's like, gang tags. And on the ground, there are a bunch of beer bottles. That means people are drinking beer and they're loitering there. So I went to the Chicago Police Tip Department. I left a note with them to go there and pick up those bottles. They wrote me back. They said they're sending that message on to the detectives. Hopefully they'll pick up those bottles and check them for fingerprints, because it could be very likely that these two vagrants are just known hangers about of this area who do drugs dealing, and they just saw an opportunity to take out Jussie. And they happened to recognize him from the TV show, and they called him out on it. And it could be just that simple. And again, they didn't run away from their hate crime. They walked away from their hate crime. That says something. It says that they're pretty comfortable with their area. So I hope the police gets there. If anyone who lives in Chicago and they see this video, do not go there. Do not touch those bottles and those cups. Let the police get them. And please call up the police and push them to do it, because they might have just completely overlooked my tip or whatever, So If they made a big deal about a hot sauce bottle, they should also make a big deal about these beer bottles that were probably consumed by people just loitering and dealing drugs there. Okay, well, thank you very much. And if I come up with anything else, I'll let you know. Thanks. Peace. Bye.